At 11, microbreweries are popular among beer drinkers, and now more people are brewing their own at home.
But there's a lurking danger, an ingredient that could be deadly to your dog or your dogs in the neighborhood. 7
Action News reporter Kimberly Craig has the story of Booker's close call.
Booker's a 3-year-old golden retriever. He's my closest friend. He's with me all the time.
You'll often see Jason and his dog Booker outside the business he co-owns, the Farmington Brewing Company. And you never know it by looking at him now, but recently Booker had a brush with death, and it had to do with hops, a plant used in the beer brewing process, and it can be lethal to dogs.
It's a terrible way to die.
It happened when Jason was picking Booker up from his dad's one day. Gary had put some of the spent grain and hops in the garden.
So bad timing, he borrowed the highest hop-rated yeast we have, put it in his garden the same week, and I asked him to watch my dog while I was going out of town for a day.
I knew hops were bad for dogs, deadly for dogs, and didn't think that he could get at it. However, his claw marks in where I dumped it shows me that he really wanted to get to it. He stretched his leash to get to what he was smelling.
He went outside. We just sat down to eat breakfast. As soon as I brought him in, he threw up all over the carpeting. It was obviously green, which is a very common color for hops.
And Jason knew he had to act fast if Booker was going to survive.
Basically uncontrolled temperature. They overheat from the inside. Imagine the worst fever you could ever have.
It causes malignant hyperthermia, so their body temperature goes over 105 and 106. So you will see your pet get really anxious, so they'll start panting, they'll walk around their pace, they can't get comfortable.
Jason rushed Booker to the Animal Emergency Center in Novi, where Dr. Heather Robertson handles all sorts of animal emergencies. And she says hops can kill a dog in just 6 hours, so Booker's treatment to save his life included administering dantrolene.
As their body temperature, if it goes up over 105 and 106, they start doing damage to their kidneys, to their liver, to their gastrointestinal tract. They have to be treated with IV fluid therapy aggressively, because you don't want to lose them, And then if we can give them dantrolene, our last dog it was hugely successful.
And unfortunately, Dr. Robertson expects more dogs to come in suffering from hops toxicity.
I think we're going to start seeing it more and more and more as you have people doing the home breweries at home, and more microbreweries pop up. We're going to see it more and more.
My advice is home brewers typically put all their waste grain with their hops in one big pile. A lot of them recycle a little mulching in their yard. Don't bag the hops with it. They're really bitter. Dogs typically won't go to them, but mixed with yeast like we had, mixed with grain like very common with home brewers, you end up with something that dogs do love.
And something that could be deadly. In Farmington, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
Now, what's strange here is experts don't really know exactly what it is about hops that makes them poisonous to dogs, but they suggest people double bag anything with the hops in it and dispose of it in a secure trash container that your dog or your neighbor's dog just can't get into.